Ultima 9 Ascension is the culmination of 20 years of creation that we've put into the Ultima series. And in particular, Ultima 9 is kind of the end of the trilogy of trilogies that tells kind of the grand finale story of our primary hero known as the Avatar. In Ultima 9, we do character creation in a very different way than you see in most other games. In most games, you actually choose numbers that you apply to statistics. In this case, we actually do a personality profile. So in fact, when we come in here and speak to the gypsy, she is actually going to tell our fortune, and while telling our fortune, ask us a variety of ethical dilemma questions, and then based upon your response to these issues, we generate a personality profile for you, the real human player, which makes up the basis of your character when you begin to play within the world of Britannia. But now that our character has been created, we are off to seek adventure in the lands of Britannia. So you can see that the gypsy has opened the gateway to take us on our way to Britannia. So I'll just kind of jog across here and jump through the gate. So once you arrive in Britannia, the next thing you learn is the ways of magic. So here, when we open up our spell book, it brings up all the different kinds of spells and reagents and other things I might need to know to cast magical spells. So let's talk a little bit about the interface. The controls in Ultima 9 we think are by far the easiest we've created yet in an Ultima. For example, we brought up a new piece of interface, which is what we call the shortcut bar. What you can do with that is you can keep things in your backpack for long-term storage, or if you wish, you can put items down here in your shortcut bar where you can put weapons, armor, potions that you might want to use, magic spells that you might want to cast. If I decide that I would rather not be using my bow and arrow and would rather use, for example, the sword and shield, over here on the ground, let me pick up the sword actually, and I'll put it down here in my interface. And now when I hit the F3 key, it actually switches. The bow and arrow goes back down into my shortcut bar, the sword goes by my side, and now when I go into combat mode, you see that I have the sword instead in my hand. Another one of the hallmarks of Ultimas is that they are living, breathing worlds where not only does the player get to move around and interact with folks and things, but the people live their own lives and interact with each other as well. So for example, here in the center of town, you can see the mayor has just been giving a speech to some of the citizens, and I can also walk up to the mayor myself and ask to talk with him.
Greetings, my good fellow. I say, you look most familiar.
And you can see the mayor, when he talks to me, not only gesticulates and moves reasonably naturally, but also his mouth is moving and his eyes are blinking, so he is a very living, breathing persona within the world.
Go bravely, Avatar, and know that you are always welcome in Britain.
Preparation for combat. Over here we happen to be near a nice stash of weapons and armor. So for example, over here is a two-handed axe that I can grab and drag onto myself. Now you can see me wearing it there on my back. And now that if I hit the tab key, go into combat stance, as a beginner, everyone in the game will have the click your left mouse button simple attack. But as you gain skill in the game and as you gain experience, you will go and learn a variety of new capabilities. So for example, you learn other attacks. There's a roundhouse attack and a little kind of a golf swing that even has a chance to knock monsters back or flip them over. Here in the Royal Museum is what we call the Tapestry of Ages, which is a large image which actually represents all of the adventures that the Avatar has gone on in all of the Ultimas. In fact, there's 3 images from each game. So I can come over here and I can actually press these buttons, and it will not only highlight one scene in particular, but tell me a little bit about what was going on in the history of the game at that time. Another one of the fairly realistic things about this Ultima is the fairly natural aspects of everything, including weather. So for example, here is the arrival of a storm. The sky goes dark, clouds come in overhead, rain comes down. You actually see lightning striking the ground. And in fact, every one of these raindrops is in fact a true tracked drop that falls from the sky and lands wherever it might land in the world. Another one of the kind of fun features about this Ultima is how realistic day and night and weather is. That in fact we get a full sunset sky, and as it gets later at night, you'll see the stars come out. And eventually at night you can see that the clouds blow by and the stars rotate as well. And in fact you can look up and see the lighthouse beacon still rotating at night, warning ships out at sea. So what you're going to find when you play Ultima 9 Ascension is that we've tried to create the most immersive and compelling world to live in, as well as create the most compelling, epic storyline that you could possibly be the hero of. So we like to believe that Ultima is really the masterpiece, epic Ultima, that is fitting for the conclusion of the entire Ultima series.